Assalamu alaikum. It's me, Layla Abdullah-Poulos. I apologize. It's been a while, but it's been a minute since I've had a minute. However, now I have a minute. I'm ready to review my next book, and the book that I chose is American Boy by Zara J. Excellent book. I really enjoyed it. I think I finished it in one night. It is about a Muslim man. He's first generation in the United States from Morocco. His name is Umar. And how he navigates between a relationship with two women and keep a double life that he has, very attempts to keep a double life secret. So Omar is a successful, works for a Muslim entertainment company. He's very successful. He's handsome. He's smooth. He comes from a traditional Muslim family with a religious upbringing. Things are going pretty great for Omar until he has a one night stand with a non-Muslim woman, Celine, and she ends up pregnant. And so the book opens with her telling him that she's pregnant. So Omar has to decide exactly how it is he's going to handle this pregnancy. Added to that is that his main love interest, a woman that he's had a crush on since they were very young, Tara, comes back into town. And so he would really like to kind of pursue something with Tara, but he has in the wings Celine, who is pregnant, waiting on him to decide what to do. And so he navigates between these two women. Two women are kind of used as contrast to each other. So you have Celine, who's the non-Muslim, he's had intimate relationships with, and she's his dirty little secret that can ruin his career. And then you have Tara, the practicing covered Muslim woman who he likes her personality and her family, and he sees the two of them as coming together and being this well blended Muslim family. And so he has to kind of decide between the two of them. And for me, it's as if the two women represent the ideal life that he would like to have, and the reality of the life that he does have. And so he kind of pursues both women at the same time. He sees them both as options. So in one point in the book, he decides that he will try to pursue a relationship with Celine first. However, she needed to learn and respect Islam. If not, Tara would surely have a place in the running, which I personally find disgusting. I mean, you have this man who's impregnated this woman, and he still kind of sees himself as having an option on whether or not to be involved with her. There are a couple of cultural references that the author makes, and one of them is the attraction between Muslims and non-Muslims. I addressed this before. When Muslims are living in a majority non-Muslim society, there is a potential for attraction between Muslims and non-Muslims, and so there's certain issues or that develop because of that. And one of them is that certain behaviors are allowed in those types of relationships that might not necessarily be allowed if it was between two Muslims. And so, for instance, there is the one night stand. There is Omar stepping outside of his Islamic ideals that he was brought up with and having an intimate relationship with a woman to whom he's not married, which is a big no-no in Islam. And so he sees it as that. And so at one point in the book, he explains to Celine, who's not Muslim, that he felt dirty afterwards and that he had to purify himself with a ritual bath known as a ghusl. And he had to repent. He had to fast the next day. Celine is not Muslim, and she doesn't see it that way. She sees it as her having an intimate relationship with someone that she's attracted to. She doesn't feel dirty, and she doesn't see it as something dirty. So it's really the dynamics of how people from two different cultures and two different religious outlooks kind of construe this intimacy. There's certain other behaviors that he's allowed to have exhibit with Celine that he wouldn't necessarily do with a Muslim woman. And so we have an opportunity to kind of look at that in the novel. For example, at one point he decides to stay with Celine. And so he's sleeping on her sofa as he's kind of thinking about marrying her and having a relationship with her. Something that he would not necessarily be able to do with a Muslim woman. And actually the author does a very good job of contrasting the way he treats Celine with the way through the way he interacts with Tara. With Tara, he has the proper traditional courting. They have chaperone dates together. Tara's brother's present. There's no physical contact, so there's non-physical courtship. So he treats Tara the way that a woman is supposed to be treated. There's no qualifiers that this is the way you treat a Muslim woman and this is the way you treat a non-Muslim woman if you're a Muslim male. Because Celine is not Muslim, there are certain things that he's allowed to get away with that he wouldn't really be allowed to get away with if she was Muslim. Celine wants a relationship with Omar. She wants to have that nice family. So she decides to at least pretend to be interested in Islam, and she kind of dangles that in front of Omar because Omar made that a prerequisite for him getting into a committed relationship with her, is that she had to study Islam and ultimately become Muslim. So she pretends to be interested in Islam. It's this whole idea that when a non-Muslim is interested in a Muslim, whether through force, which I think Omar does, whether it's something it piques their interest because there's someone that they have feelings for, and this person is really, really committed to their religion, so they want to find out more about the religion. There is this dynamic of between mutual attraction of a Muslim and a non-Muslim, that often the non-Muslim will start to at least learn about Islam. Another thing that I found very, very interesting about the book is the disposability of the non-Muslim woman to the Muslim man and to his family ultimately. Celine is not Muslim, even though she's pregnant, and legitimacy is something that is extremely important in the Islamic culture. It's not something that's taken lightly. There are very heavy ramifications for having a child out of wedlock. However, that doesn't seem to bother Omar or even his family. When he decides to kind of pursue Tara, it's okay. This woman now who's carrying this child is ignored. And again, that's not something that might necessarily happen if Celine was Muslim and she had a wali, and the wali or the father, wali is the guardian of a woman. And so it would be another man kind of broaching this and saying, look, this is what you did. And he would be looking out for her rights. Tara J does a really excellent job in addressing this whole issue of the way non-Muslim women in particular are treated by Muslim men as something usable and disposable. And in so many ways, Omar sees Celine as that. Now, Celine's not going to go down lightly, and so it's not something that, she just fades away, which is some of the things she does. I was actually cheering for her more than I was cheering for the Muslim woman, because she was in this situation and she didn't get there by herself. And the main character, Omar, should not have been allowed to get away with anything. And so she was not going to let him get away with anything. And so it's really, really interesting, some of the things that she does. This book is really ripe with issues about the dynamics of relationships between Muslims and non-Muslims, and not only the lovers themselves, but the families and even the community, and even where Omar works, how all of these things are affected by when a Muslim decides to engage in a relationship with a non-Muslim in a way that's not in accordance with Islamic Sharia or even Muslim culture. So, American Boy by Zara J. Check it out. And if you want to know more about the work that I'm doing, please visit NbAmuslims.com and check out my other video book reviews and the great authors that are part of the NbA Muslim Women Writers. Okay, so as soon as I get another minute, I'll review another book. Assalamu alaikum.